Hey everyone, it's Top Notch Psych here with another video. Be sure to check out my previous video about 8 habits you need to stop right now. Link is in the description. Alright, let's get on with today's video. Why is creating a morning routine key? I get it. It's fun to read about successful people and their morning habits. After all, they are successful, so it must work. Not so fast. Yes, morning habits work. For example, a simple habit like making your bed causes a chain reaction of habits. You stick to one thing, so your brain gets used to sticking to habits. And absolutely, habits like going to the gym and planning your day are a great start. But let's remember, we're all different. Things like waking up at 4:30 AM might or might not work for you. And that's the key to unlocking successful morning routines. Do things that work for you and that serve your goals. You don't need a complicated routine. Instead, use these 6 tips to create simple and actionable habits you can use every day. But first, I upload new content daily, so you might consider subscribing to the channel and turning on post notifications so you don't miss a thing. Number 1. Wake up at 5 AM or 10 AM. Richard Branson gets up at 5:30 AM, Michelle Obama at 4:30 AM, and Apple CEO Tim Cook at 3:45 AM. So, if you don't get up by 5 AM, you're doomed to an unproductive life, right? Wrong. You see, everyone has their own sleep cycle. Some are morning people, about 1 in 4. Half of us are in the middle, neither a morning nor a night person. And finally, around 1 in 4 is a night owl. For these people, getting up at 5 AM goes against their sleep cycle. So they end up being anything but productive. In fact, there are plenty of examples of successful people who are or were late risers. Take Mark Zuckerberg, who gets up at 8 AM. Or Winston Churchill, who woke up at 7:30 AM, but didn't get out of bed before 11 AM. The point is, if it feels unnatural to you to get up extremely early in the morning, then don't do it. Instead, focus on what works for you. Now, your wake up time doesn't necessarily affect your productivity, but your sleep does. And that leads us to the next step. 2. The key to a successful morning routine? It's not what you think. Successful people, like Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston, do a lot of things to kickstart their day. They exercise, yoga, meditate, all that good stuff. But in the end, these are not the main reasons they keep productive throughout the day. The real reason is much simpler. They get enough sleep. Almost everyone needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Only if you need less sleep. And a study shows what happens when people get too little sleep. People who got 6 hours of sleep every night for 2 weeks functioned as poorly as people who stayed up for 2 days straight. However, they thought they were functioning just fine. 3. Do this simple exercise to stay productive the entire day. What's a simple thing you can do for 5 to 15 minutes every morning that will have a big impact on your day? Doesn't matter if you commute to work or have to get your kids ready, it's that simple. Do what swimmer Michael Phelps does. Visualize your day. You see, Phelps visualizes his competitions in excruciating detail. What the water feels like, how he uses his arms, and so forth. No wonder he's a record-breaking Olympic swimmer. In fact, research shows that visualizing helps you achieve goals. The caveat? You need to visualize your goal and the steps you take to achieve it. So how can you use this in practice? Do this every night before you go to sleep. Sit down somewhere quiet. Close your eyes and focus on taking a few deep breaths. Then, start visualizing your day from the moment you wake up until you go to sleep. 4. Create your perfect day. It's easy to forget, right? You have the ultimate say in what your mornings and days look like. What do I mean? Productivity expert Laura Vanderkam explains this in her TEDx talk. Vanderkam interviewed several busy and successful people. One of the women had 6 kids. On top of that, she ran a small business with 12 employees. It's easy to imagine how busy she must have been. When Vanderkam asked to interview her, she couldn't. But it wasn't because of work. Instead, it was a Thursday morning and she was out hiking. Interesting. She probably had a massive to-do list. But she decided to go hiking. Now, why do you think she did this? Simple. She did what she prioritized. And you can do this too. Prioritize the things you want to prioritize. If you want to go on that 1-hour jog, do it. Or a brunch, or just spend quality time with your kids, go for it. In the end, it's up to you. 5. Want to feel great? Talk to yourself. Steve Jobs famously said, "For the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?" So yeah, talking to yourself can be a powerful exercise. But why not take it to the next level? Give yourself a pep talk. Here's the deal. When you hear something often enough, you begin to believe it. That's because your brain loves clarity. And familiarity is one of the things that makes things clear. When things are familiar and clear, your brain assumes it must be true. Now, what if you repeat something over and over again? It becomes familiar and your brain will eventually have an easier time believing it. So develop a mantra. It could be something you want to achieve or the person you want to become. For example, I am a person who gets out of bed the minute my alarm clock goes off. Or, I will only check emails at 12 PM and 4 PM today. Say this exact same mantra every day before you go to work. You'll be surprised by how effective this simple exercise can be. 6. Journal or do one of these things. You've probably heard it before. Successful people, like entrepreneur Tim Ferriss, journal in the morning. But what if you just don't know where to start? Here's what to do instead. Schedule 15 minutes every morning. Write down 3 things you're grateful for today. Not only does this make your mornings much more creative, expressing gratitude every day can have a huge impact on how happy and rooted you feel. In a nutshell, what is important is to create a morning routine that works for you. There you have it. These are the 6 most powerful things successful people do differently every morning. Now, let me know in the comments below. Which of these tips will you implement tomorrow morning to create your own morning routine? In fact, the easiest way to succeed is to start small and then improve from there. Don't forget to leave a like if you found value in today's video and subscribe to be part of the community.